Welcome to Healthy Leads, the one-stop podcast that bridges the gap between small to mid-sized businesses and digital marketing in this interconnected age of the internet and artificial intelligence. If you are looking to increase your online lead flow and close deals, or just someone interested in the fusion of business growth and digital marketing, this podcast is your avenue for success. Now, let's get to our hosts, Ryan Atkinson and Angel Ty LeBron.
Welcome, everyone, to the Healthy Leads podcast brought to you by Ellington Digital. Today, we are going to talk about the usage cases if you are an e-commerce company and how you can use AI within all of your practices. We have Angel. We've got Ryan on the podcast today. Angel, super excited to run it back with you.
Son, man, of course, as always, right? Every week.
Every week. I love it. And I was telling you before we get started, ask me what happened to me in the past week.
All right, what happened to you in this past week?
So we recorded last Wednesday. Wednesday night, I go play kickball. I play kickball every week. Really fun group. It's like mid-20s, whatnot. I go play kickball. I step up to hit, bat, kick. I hit it very far, big poppy it. I start sprinting. I round first, and I break my wrist.
Oh, snap, I didn't even... This entire time that we've been on, I didn't even see your hand.
Well, I purposely try to cover it when I talk to people so they don't be like, "What's wrong with your wrist?" But I want to kick off the episode with that one to break that news to you there.
Wow. It's literally broken, like the entire bone is.
We are broken. We are seeing a hand specialist Friday morning to go over if I need to have surgery or not. So I'm hoping there can be some AI involved in that. But it was pretty cool. Yeah.
I've seen some AI robots, like you could see them like in the microscope and they're like doing from all the way from a controller or something. They're doing the surgery.
And speaking of AI robots, both of us are excited to see a really cool AI movie this weekend called The Creator. I literally watched the trailers this morning. I'm looking at tickets this morning. What are you most excited for this movie?
Oh, man. Because the reason I liked it was I saw the movie Megan. I don't know if you recently saw that one. So I saw Megan, and then I saw there's another one called Ex Machina.
Okay.
Pronouncing that. And they're both AI based. So they're like all talking about, of course, but what happened once it gains, consciousness, and then they start thinking for themselves. And so like all those were really, really good movies, but I like the cinematography. Like once I saw the trailer and I saw the plot and then I saw that the actors that was going to be in, I was like, no, this looks like a movie that goes even into more detail about what can happen, being that it's happening in our everyday lives now. So I was really excited to see it just because of how relevant it is.
Yeah, there's two reasons I'm super excited for this movie. Three. One, it just looks super sick. Like I love sci-fi movies, and this is like the perfect balance of like sci-fi, but like it also has humans in it. So that's my favorite mix. Two, Hans Zimmer is doing the score on it. So you already know the playlist, the music in this thing is going to be a banger. And then three, the director of Rogue One is also the creator of this one. So those are my three reasons. If you are thinking on a Saturday what I'm doing, that is what I will be doing.
So you're going in the weekend?
I'm going this weekend. I'm going to get my matinee 25% off tickets because movies are expensive.
I have that, the AMC Stubs member.
No way.
From my mother-in-law.
Dude, that is so sweet. Every time I see that in a movie theater, I always think, that would be really cool to have, but I know I would never use it.
You get like it's actually a really good deal. I'm not even going to lie. You get like 3 movies or something like that a week.
Dude.
Think about it. If you pay even just $25 for one month, it almost pays for itself within just like 1 or 2 movies.
I was going to say, so have you actually got the usage out of it? Because the last movie I saw was early August. It was Oppenheimer. So do you get the usage from it?
I saw Oppenheimer, but I don't even pay for it. It's my mother's.
Oh, fair.
Like if she doesn't use a couple, like I could just go see it.
I love that. Well, let's not talk about movies, The Creator, and my broken wrist. Let's talk about how e-commerce companies can use AI. You have a little bit of experience. Tell me a little bit about your experience in e-commerce and like your first business that we were chatting at before this show.
Yeah. So my first business that I ever started was selling phone cases, but more specifically, it was like these squishy cat phone cases. So on the back of the phone, right? So you see how like this one's like a special out and it's a card design.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, the one that I had a squishy cat paw right here. And you could just like play with it while you're in class. Like it's like the ASMR, fidgety type of scene, niche. Um, so yeah, so like I would get, and I did a drop shipping model. So like I would see where I could find the best price for the cases at like
Yeah.
AliExpress or something like that. And then I'll directly, once I get an order, I'll market it. Once I get the order, I'll ship it directly to the customer. I had no, essentially had no storage or fulfillment costs other
Mm.
than like the software side of it and just like to purchase it, right? Like that was the only cost. So the reason why I thought this would be like a perfect thing for this episode is because what most companies are dealing with now is more so fulfillment. Like there's
Mhm.
an entire cost to storing your products, to having you have to have a warehouse, then you have to transport it to somewhere. So now there's the shipping costs and there's all these fees associated fulfillment. So AI can come in and almost automate the vast majority of it all. And then I think the perfect example you were talking about was the Amazon warehouse.
Yeah, the
So
Amazon warehouse we were talking before. I went to London and right before COVID, actually, like January 2020. We took a tour of an Amazon fulfillment center, and I will never forget being there and just walking in. One, Amazon warehouses are huge, obviously. Two, just the efficiency that they're working at is incredible, and that is part to these big robots that are just carrying around inventory on their backs. Not on their backs, they're like these flat machines that just zoom around with like inventory on them. And it was like mind blowing, like just to see how this is working. And that plays a part into AI, automation, and how e-commerce companies like Amazon, like the biggest brands in the world, are utilizing those practices within like their own companies.
yeah, I do you have any, like, because I know some friends of mine, they have actually like worked in the Amazon warehouse and they always tell me, oh, like clock, like you literally can't even go to the bathroom because then it's like your score or something like at the top just like starts going down. And he's
Yeah,
like,
you
that
know what's
sounds
funny
like,
about that? I about accepted a job as an Amazon area manager right after school in San Antonio. But one reason that I did not is because I was looking at the Glassdoor reviews of it and it looked awful. Everything was like quantified what you were doing. So I actually had an offer to go work down in San Antonio, but I did not. And that is one reason why I did not.
yeah. And the funny thing is too, I worked at a warehouse before, and so I was at Fresh Direct, right? It
Hmm.
was in it was in New York City, and this was when the peak of the pandemic. I mean, fresh pandemic came,
Hmm.
and it was the orders. Fresh Direct is it ships your groceries directly to your house. So
Yep.
as you can imagine, during that pandemic, it was like overtime.
Yeah.
Totes are coming down. It's like the way it works is like there's a bunch of conveyor belts, and like a tote will come down the conveyor belt. You have to sort the tote onto a pallet. And like in my mind, I was like, man, like Amazon for one, they have massive, like they have so much money to invest into the robots.
Yeah.
There's 18, 20, 30 people on the floor sorting totes. And it's like a robot could just scan the tote, grab it, and put it onto the pallet. And
Hmm.
so I was like, there's so much room for opportunities for other warehouses to adopt
Yeah,
all that
absolutely.
AI.
Yeah, and one of the ways that we just talked about was that supply chain, but there is also opportunities to enhance your procedures with personalization with AI. And let's talk about the Amazon example I think we talked about last week, where it's basically a recommendation engine. And by analyzing customer browsing and purchasing behavior, AI powered recommendation engines can suggest relevant products and content, increasing the chances of customers making a purchase. Going to that Amazon, the one that comes to mind right off Amazon's website is like the frequently bought together. So if you buy one book, here are two other books that customers similar to you have bought. And that's one way that companies like Amazon, but other e-commerce companies are using AI within their practices.
Yeah, they're the perfect example. And then I think the originators was like McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at that. So I was like, this is really where it all came from. Like you just simply ask somebody, and the fact that they see it in front of them, they're going to be more likely to just purchase something. So your average order value is going to go up. Amazon, the fact that they ask people their average order value is like way up. The conversion rates higher. So offering that suggestion is really good, especially if you have a product to offer.
Yeah. And really it goes back to like that yeah, like that McDonald's example. Once you see like the screens, like, oh, this was also bought with it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. So AI is being used in e-commerce, but it's also being used in retail. But we're gonna stick with e-commerce today. Another way that I like that AI is being used within e-commerce is pairing that supply chain optimization with dynamic pricing. And from here, it's AI algorithms can optimize pricing based on factors such as customer demand, inventory levels, competitor pricing, ensuring that products are priced competitively and appeal to the target audience. So one usage case that comes to mind for this is you're going to be able to throw in this dynamic pricing, and based on, oh, we only have 10 left in stock, you're actually able to raise that pricing. And think of it as like an Uber surge charge, essentially. Demand goes down, demand goes up, you raise the prices on it. Simple economics there.
Yeah. Especially, I think it's even would be really, really useful. For example, if you're on Google Ads, it's basically it's an auction, right? So it's taking into account of everyone else's bids on the keyword.
Mm,
If they have the power to change the pricing based on what the competition is going to be like in that one auction. If I do one search for, I don't know, I'm in Tucson, so it gets real hot here, like hyperhidrosis
yeah.
machines or something, like help me stop sweating machines. So
Yeah.
there's like a bunch of products that I always see in Walmart and stuff. If you are going up against 5 other people and like you are going to be the lowest price one at $5, but you know that your product is normally $4. If you could make it that $5, it'd be like awesome. If you could take it to example of all the other competitors or like the field of your industry, that could be included. That'll be awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. I want to ask a little bit about that. Like, what are some of the usage cases you've seen with the AI and ad like optimization? Is there a usage case that comes to mind of like a project you've actually worked on?
Yeah. So I would say, because you have different types of bidding, right? Like
Yeah.
there's the manual bidding. And so that's me going in there and going, okay, I want to bid specifically this amount for this product, right? And Google, you don't really have keyword based pricing. You more so have, this is the product, and Google's going to take into account of everything that you put for the product. So what's the title of it, the
Yeah.
image, description, everything like that, price. So you can switch from doing manual CPC in the beginning. I personally like to start with manual CPC. So I'll
Uh,
be bidding manually. And then after, once I feel like the system has gotten enough purchases, right, I then switch over to Google's automated bidding. And that right there will take into account it'll take all the historical purchases, and then it's going to go out on its own and find, who is the most likely on the display network, on the YouTube network, on search, who is most likely to make a purchase similar to these. So I always do that. And that'll be like the perfect example of using AI in the system itself.
yeah. We talked about it, I believe, on like the first episode, but how do you, when you're executing on these PPC strategies, because PPC obviously in e-commerce is huge. That has to be like
Mhm.
one of the number one ways to drive revenue for an e-commerce company. How much do you do like manually, or how much do you just like the algorithm let it do its work? There's always options to like manually do it or like automatically do it. What's like a typical breakdown that you do?
So like in the beginning, it's going to be you setting up everything.
Yeah.
So it's going to be more of an 80-20 type of situation, like maybe 20% for, I haven't personally gotten to use the like Mid Journey or something like that for like product photos, but I know there's a lot of people using the automated photo generators for product photos and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that may be like an aspect of it, your landing page and stuff like that. And maybe like the aspect, but in the beginning, you're setting up everything manually. Like you have to give Google the data initially. So I'm doing everything manually. Like I'm going in, of
Yeah.
course, there's a bunch of tools to do, like your feed. That's like a whole realm that's like a rabbit hole. So like your Google feed, there's like automated tools. There's people that do it manually for you, but most of it is going to be manual at the beginning. And then once you start getting conversions and purchases and things
Yeah.
like that, that's when you can start twisting that, can start shifting over to having more of an automation focus and less manual. So, and that helps a lot too when you have budgets that are like, hey, I want to spend $900 today.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of companies that where their budgets are just astronomical. Fathom how much they spend on ads. So it starts to get to the realm of manual isn't even efficient. Kind of have to
Yeah.
get to the automation phase.
And I'm pulling up some statistics here right now. And one of them is based around budget.
Mm.
We're going to do a little trivia here, but from
Sure.
this article, startup bondsai.com,
Mm.
businesses will typically spend blank to blank a month on PPC campaigns. Obviously, this depends a lot on the company size, but what do you think from this this statistic? What do you think it would
Is
be?
is it a percentage of the revenue?
No, it's a specific dollar amount.
Specific, damn, that's gonna be hard. I know, like I'll say if it's gonna be a specific revenue, it'll probably be like 20-30% of their
Okay.
total revenue.
That's honestly a
So
better way to look at it, probably.
yeah, I feel like it would because it's like every business is gonna have different revenues. So it's like they're gonna spend a certain percentage of the revenue on budget. But I mean, 20,000,
Yeah.
5,000.
Yeah. It was 9,000 to 10,000, but it is a better, the percentage is a much better. You suggest 20 to 30% if you are using
Yeah.
ads.
Yeah, usually most e-commerce companies are going to be spending around like that 20 to 30%. Some of them may even spend like 10. I know that of course there's like those, like one company I studied was, what is that? Vera, like Vera Road. It's something, you know, those sneakers. Have you ever seen people that have sneakers with a V on the side?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So like that company right there, they spend no money on marketing, no money at all on ads, SEO, nothing. At all
Wow.
organic. Yes, there's like companies like that where they literally don't have to spend money on advertisements and campaigns. Like I forgot, like their specific strategy was just like they wanted to invest all the money back into being sustainable. So that was just part of their marketing. It was just like, hey, we
That's
have a
awesome.
brand. This is our story, and most people just went along for the story. Like I'm sold on this because of the story. So
That's really cool. And once you do get them to be a customer, let's say you run a killer PPC campaign, you get them to be a customer. One way that e-commerce companies are using AI is with reward personalization. So AI will be able to examine customer behavior patterns and preferences to craft reward offerings that are tailored to individual needs. By providing relevant and attractive rewards, brands can increase the likelihood of customers engaging with the loyalty program and making a repeat purchase. You know what? I wish more e-commerce companies actually use reward personalization. I feel like it's not one that's out there. So it's a low-hanging fruit. If you're an e-commerce company listening, dial into that one because I feel like I don't get I spend so much money at Lululemon. Give me a reward here, Lululemon.
I mean, it's true because if you have certain customers that are spending like 900, because Lululemon is probably definitely a more of a higher ticket
Yeah.
product. So if you're spending a lot of money, hey, maybe just give them a 20% or so, like different percentages. Or if you know that they've been purchasing a lot of these products, throw in one for free. Like that would be something perfect. I know there's this one company I try to reach out to them like previously, but Figs is they make uniforms for like nurses and stuff.
Yeah.
Like with them, if they know like this person buys this color over and over, they buy a certain thing over and over. They could recognize that and just, send them this personalized gift and just goes out automatically. They don't even have to think about it. Because when you have thousands and thousands of purchases and customers,
Yeah.
kind of hard to get personalized for each one. So that's where the AI.
And in the simplest way, I don't know if it's some like sort of tracking mechanism where it's like every 10 purchases you get like a discount. But one example that comes to mind, there's a place in Iowa called Made Right. And basically it's a sloppy Joe without the sauce. So it's basically bread and like ground up beef. So good.
No
though.
sauce?
Literally incredible. It sounds very bland. So good. And they have like some reward loyalty program where it's like every 10 visits, you get like a free shake or something. So for an e-commerce company, maybe after every 5 purchases, 10 purchases, you get like a 10% discount. It really is just to show that appreciation. I really don't think e-commerce companies are using that enough. I don't know if there's any that come to mind for you.
Yeah, none really come to mind for me. The only one I could think of would be Amazon. Sometimes I think it would be crazy if Amazon actually implements this because they're able to, you can set a reminder that says, hey, like the subscription based ones. I guess a way to track it would be whatever the subscription based platforms are.
Yeah.
On Amazon, you can tell it, hey, when I in 2 weeks order a new one every 2 weeks, like Tide Go stickers, laundry detergent.
Yeah.
So then it just like expires every 2 weeks. Toothpaste. So you could set it to go every week or every 2 weeks, and then after a certain amount of purchases, you just automatically send that person, hey, look, this is our newest product. Would love to send it to you. You've been a loyal customer.
Yeah, and that is like the personalization because I believe Harry's the shaving place, they do something similar to that where it's order now and in a month we'll send you like 3 new blades or whatever it is. And that's just like personalization, like simple personalization you can have. And that is like really just easy ways to increase revenue is to make it super simple for people to do business with you again and make them feel good. I want to feel good as a consumer. I don't want to feel like I'm getting ripped off every time I buy. $128 Lululemon pants,
Yeah.
which I am getting ripped off, but
Yeah, there's some people that they're probably gonna swear by Lululemon. I don't know. I went into that. I don't know what the hype is, but
that's fair.
me
That is
personally,
fair.
I just kind of go into Target, just kind of grab t-shirts,
Yes.
replace it.
And it is really important to like talk about, it's important to talk about AI. There's a statistic out there that we found that AI and e-commerce can increase profitability by almost 60% by 2035. And it goes back to a lot of this being able to reduce costs with supply chain management, being able to run ads that are optimized based off of AI's recommendations, personalization. I think that statistic is actually like incredible, 60% by 2035 across the
Do,
e-commerce industry. So
do you
seems like a
believe it
lot
though?
of disruption. What'd you say?
I said, do you believe it though? Because I feel like sometimes we'll see a lot of statistics, and we're like, kids, this is just a prediction, but do you think it's actually gonna be able to save companies that much by that year?
That's a great point. And if you're listening, I'd be curious to think what you think as well. But, I really, 60% is a lot. Like that's a large percentage. I do think with the opportunity to reduce costs in warehouses, there's a really good opportunity here to reduce costs, but also maintain like revenue. And so
Mm,
I think that'll be like the biggest opportunity really that'll come with AI and e-commerce. I'm actually very bullish that I've been research on AI and e-commerce about the impacts they can have. Because you can have like specific industries like retail, but what can retail do? What can like all these other industries do? I feel like
mm.
e-commerce is so website and data driven that AI can actually make a really big impact and reach a number like this.
I agree as well because I think that number will probably be accurate, and it's the simple fact of people cost the most money. Even when you look at the revenue,
Exactly.
like most of it is going to be going toward labor or some type of expenditure for the product itself, transportation, or like as the fulfillment process. Those are going to be those big things. So if you could cut out those with AI, then it's 60%. It wouldn't be too crazy at all, honestly, in my opinion. So,
Exactly. And if you're Amazon, you don't have to clock people for using the restroom. These robots are
right.
just going 24/7. It was seriously incredible when I saw these things. It was insane. I still have this very vivid memory in my mind of seeing these big, like orange robots just carrying it on.
I,
Hopefully we get a screenshot or something in there, but it was crazy.
I remember before I even joined it on the podcast, like I was watching a couple of videos on Boston Dynamics. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
ever heard of that. They're always doing like these weird parkour robots. And I was like, can you imagine you're just walking down the street and you see this ginormous robot
it's so
start running
cool.
towards you? And it's just, this was like, Paul, right there. Like, it's like a Robocop scene. So I would be quite terrified if I start seeing these Boston Dynamics robots
I was gonna say,
on
we'll
the
definitely need to
streets.
do a whole episode on the robotics because I think it is really cool. And Boston Dynamics is a cutting edge in that industry. I saw
Yeah.
Mercedes Benz. We'll say this for another episode, but a little teaser right now. The Mercedes Benz Stadium, they hired a Spot, that AI robot that Boston Dynamics made, to be their
Mm.
security, which is
Wow.
really cool. But
Oh my
um,
goodness.
yeah, it's
Imagine
pretty
being carried
insane.
out by
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
several
Really, my
robots.
my Spot.
That
I like
would be
that.
crazy.
And we're like really like wrap this all up together too. There was another cool stat that we found that AI and e-commerce is projected to increase sales by 59% through with product recommendations. And so it's that Amazon example, it's that classic example of being able to leverage AI to recommend familiar products to people that are more likely to buy it. I think that is such a cool usage case for it.
Yeah. I think that's Philly. That's probably another number one way because
Yeah.
I've seen some sequences where it's like you'll be leaving. It's gonna ask you a question. Hey, before you leave, did you want to add this to your cart? Similar people you gonna have bought it. It's oh no. So you say no. And then it's one more time and it'll be like, well, like sometimes the follow up
Yeah.
is something so smooth and it's just like, damn, yeah, okay, maybe all right, I'll add that. That makes sense. So that always happens to me. And then all of a sudden my order goes up by like $100, $50.
Yeah, seriously. The cart abandonment's huge in AI, and I'd be really curious on some statistics here. According to research by Baymard, just one here, Baymard Institute on the best ways to improve online shopping, 67.45% of e-commerce shopping carts get abandoned.
Yeah.
I think that is actually true. There's so many times I put stuff in my cart, I just literally exit out of the tab.
I'm the king of internet shopping. Like especially when I was younger and all I had was just time. What I would do all day is I'll go onto like PC Part Picker And
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if you remember, I'll go on a PC part breaker and then I'll go to like newegg.com, just add a bunch of stuff to my cart, trying to build out my PC.
Yeah, yeah.
But I want to build one day. I didn't even have the funds for it. I was like 15, 16. I'm just like, oh, yeah, one day I'm going to have this $2,000 computer. So I'm just adding $3,000 worth of computer stuff into my cart on Best Buy, Newegg, all the websites.
Yeah, it's crazy that you say that because there's so many times that I add stuff. I'm gonna say with Lululemon. I'm on a Lululemon thread today. There's so many times that I add stuff from Lululemon, and I literally just I put it in my cart. I'm like, yeah, do I really need to spend $170 today? No. And it's costing businesses. Businesses can lose up to $18 billion in sales revenue each year due to cart abandonment. That is a staggering number. And using
Yeah.
AI to put in sequences, hey, I saw you're checking out this item type of thing, I think is like a perfect way to leverage AI for that.
Yeah, I see it all the time, like in different accounts. It's like this person, you look at their abandonment cart, like there'll be an actual number to it. It's like you can see how many people have left, and then it adds up the total. The total. So one time I saw it was like $200,000, and like some of those products are like 100. The average order maybe like 80,
Yeah, yeah.
120. And I'm like, there's over the course of a couple 30 days, 60 days, it's $200,000 worth of abandoned carts. So it's a big revenue source that people can solve.
Yeah. And cart abandonment emails, it's one way to do it, of course, that we just talked about. This quick stat says these emails have a 41.1% open rate, which is much higher than the typical marketing email at 21%. So
Yeah.
this shows power. Just send it right after they exit out of that puffy and make sure you get back into their mind and get them to buy that cart.
100%. It's probably going to take, sometimes it's going to take probably like that 7, 8. I think the statistic that we saw was like 32 touch points before somebody becomes a
Yeah.
customer. So there's going to be a lot of follow-ups. People.
It's a lot of follow-up, and it is all I don't remember where I was at, but the detail that goes into a checkout experience, there have been so many startups like fast checkout, the one-click like checkout, like there's been so many
Mhm.
startups that have like really been trying to help out this abandoned cart thing. It's an interesting area because obviously this is a huge money loser with not getting people to buy cards. So
Yeah.
we think about business ideas a lot on this podcast. Randomly just toss them out there. So maybe there's something there to address the cart abandonment, but with not one click checkout.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go on Shark Tank, get some investors.
Mark Cuban, we are coming for you because we are now done with this episode. Thank you everyone for tuning in to today. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Thank you so much for being here today. Let's talk about robotics next. That's what I'm excited for. So be on the lookout for that one.
100%.
Angel, thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a good one.